Hello. I'm going to be sharing the story that I read with my group of second graders. This story is entitled Spaghetti and Meatballs for All, a mathematical story, written by Marilyn Burns. It is about Mr. and Mrs. Comfort. They are having a family reunion. While Mr. Comfort starts cooking up his famous spaghetti and meatballs, Mrs. Comfort arranges the tables and chairs so that everyone has a seat. Soon the guests arrive with their own seating plans. This humorous story will draw children into thinking about area and perimeter. Spaghetti and Meatballs for All, a mathematical story written by Marilyn Burns, illustrated by Debbie Tilley. One fine day, Miss Comfort was busy tending the lettuce patch in her garden. "You know, it's been a long time since we've seen the family," she said to her husband. You're right," answered Mr. Comfort. He was stretched out on a bench doing what he liked to do best in a vegetable garden, reading a cookbook. "Maybe it's time for a family reunion," Miss Comfort said. "A wonderful idea," Mr. Comfort agreed. Let's see. Menus. Dinner for two, serves 4 to 6, banquets. How many people would we be having? He asked. The Comforts called their children. They called their parents. Miss Comfort called her brother. Mr. Comfort called the next-door neighbors, who were almost like family. Everyone could come. "That's 32 people altogether, including us," Mr. Comfort said. "What could possibly fit in our oven and still feed 32 people?" He wondered out loud. "Why not make your famous spaghetti and meatballs?" asked Miss Comfort. "Good thinking," said Mr. Comfort. "Now, what about renting some tables and chairs?" asked Miss Comfort. She got out the telephone book. 2 weeks later, the big day arrived. Mr. Comfort got up very early and spent all morning cooking. He baked 16 loaves of garlic bread and made 8 pounds of fresh pasta. He simmered 8 quarts of spaghetti sauce and rolled 96 meatballs. Mrs. Comfort picked all her ripe tomatoes, cucumbers, and lettuce for salad. While Miss Comfort waited for the tables and chairs she had rented, she drew a seating plan. Then she got out the dishes, the silverware, the glasses, the tablecloths, and some vases. But when the rental company arrived, there were 1 chair short. "Don't worry," Mr. Comfort said. "You'll think of something." Mrs. Comfort found a folding chair. Now the tables were ready. Each had 4 place settings, 4 chairs, and a vase with lovely cut flowers. Mr. Comfort came out of the kitchen balancing 8 plates of celery and olives, 1 for each table. Just after noon, the Comfort's daughter and her husband arrived with their 2 children. "Welcome," Mrs. Comfort said. "Come sit," said Mr. Comfort. "Let's push 2 tables together so you can sit with us," suggested the Comfort's daughter. But there won't be room," Miss Comfort said. "But there is," said Mr. Comfort. "There's plenty of room and plenty of garlic bread." Everyone was just about to sit down when a car pulled into the driveway. Mrs. Comfort's brother and his wife, their daughter, her husband, and their twin sons all spilled out. "Welcome," said Mr. Comfort. Sit down. "Oh, let's push over 2 more tables so we can all sit together," said Mrs. Comfort's brother's wife. The Comfort's daughter and her husband got up to help. "But that won't work," said Mrs. Comfort. You are so right, Mr. Comfort said. We'll have to push 2 more tables together. But that won't work either, said Mrs. Comfort. You're right, said Mrs. Comfort's brother's wife. Make way, shouted Mrs. Comfort's brother and the Comfort's son-in-law. They each carried over a table and put them side by side. You don't understand, Miss Comfort sighed. My plan was, but no one heard her. Everyone was too busy. Save some of that garlic bread for me, a new rival called. Me too, me too, me too, 3 more voices piped in. Well, look who's here, said Mrs. Comfort's brother's daughter's husband. It was the Comfort's next-door neighbors with their daughter and son. Hello, hello, said Mr. Comfort. So glad to see you. Have a seat while I get more garlic bread. But there is no place for them to sit, said Mrs. Comfort. Don't worry, said Mrs. Comfort's brother's wife. We'll just divide these tables into 2 groups of 4. Go ahead, Mrs. Comfort said, but I'm telling you, when you fret too much, said Mr. Comfort. Bread, anyone? Anyone? When all the tables had been rearranged, everyone sat down. See, Mom, the Comfort's daughter said, it worked out just fine. Mrs. Comfort sighed. Hiya, 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 boomed a familiar voice. Mr. Comfort's father, mother, and their little terrier strolled in. Hello, Grandma. Hello, Grandpa, the Comfort's daughter shouted. Oh, dear, said Mrs. Comfort. Where are they going to sit? No problem, said Mr. and Mrs. Comfort's next-door neighbor. If we just push all 8 tables into one long line, there'll be enough room for everyone. Actually, Mrs. Comfort began to explain. Absolutely, said Mr. Comfort. He was carrying several big bowls of salad. Better move fast, or this salad will be really tossed. No sooner had everyone gotten settled than Mrs. Comfort's mother and father drove up in their yellow convertible. Hello, Granny. Hello, Gramps, the Comfort's daughter shouted. Mr. Comfort put down the fork. Oh, dear. Don't worry, we're all family, right? Gramps said. Let's just split this long line of tables into 2. There'll be plenty of room for us to squeeze in. But it still isn't going to work because, Miss Comfort started to say. A bowl of salad slid into her lap. Sorry, said one of Mrs. Comfort's brother's daughter's twin sons. Mr. and Mrs. Comfort and their 18 relatives and neighbors were finally all seated. They passed the salad and the bread. They shared the celery and the olives. And when they heard a cheery, hi, everyone, most of them held on to their plates. The Comfort's son and his wife pedaled in on a bicycle for 2. Their twin daughters rolled in on skates. Didn't I tell you? Mrs. Comfort said. There's not enough room. No problem, Mom, said the Comfort son. We'll just divide these 2 lines of tables into 4 pairs. Okie dokie? Wait, you're all forgetting something, said Miss Comfort. We're out of salad over here, the Comfort's daughter said. Don't put any tomatoes in mine, said the Comfort's next-door neighbor's son. Is there more garlic bread? Asked Miss Comfort's mother. Who's got my silverware? Asked Mr. Comfort's father. Hey, Miss Comfort's brother's daughter's son said to his twin brother. That's my bread you're eating. Get your fingers out of my salad, the Comfort's son's daughter said to her twin sister. Don't play with your food, said the Comfort's son's wife. What did you say? Asked Mr. Comfort. I said, Miss Comfort said. Beep, beep. A big red van parked at the curb. Out jumped Mrs. Comfort's sister with her husband and their triplets. All three of the triplets had brought their boyfriends, who were also triplets. "Now, do you see what I mean?" said Mrs. Comfort. "Where are we going to sit, everybody?" "Well, my dearest," said Mr. Comfort, "I haven't served the spaghetti yet. We'll just move a few chairs, set a few places, and there'll be plenty of room for everyone." "I give up!" cried Mrs. Comfort. She sat down in her chair and didn't budge. "I say we divide the 4 pairs of tables into 8 single tables," Mrs. Comfort's brother said. He and his wife moved 1 pair of tables apart. The triplets and their boyfriends moved the other 3 parts. "You see," said Mr. Comfort, "it all worked out." "I see everything is back exactly the way I had it," said Mrs. Comfort. "I knew you'd think of something," said Mr. Comfort. "Now, how many meatballs would you like?" Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so we read this book, Spaghetti and Meatballs for All. It's part of the book where they decided they're going to do what? Have a family reunion, make spaghetti, meatballs, and salad. And they had it all set for all of their guests, except when guests arrived, they have a different idea of what they wanted to do. So when the rental chair company came, they were short a table. So what did they do in our story? They pushed it together, didn't they? To accommodate. So they had to make some arrangements. If you think of a table, what shape is a table?
A square.
A square.
Or a rectangle.
And how many sides does a square or a rectangle have?
4 sides.
Yeah. Do you agree, Flor? Yeah, a square and a rectangle both have 4 sides. So if we were to look at this chart up here, this is the beginning of the story right here. We have how many rectangles or squares?
Rectangles or squares.
Yeah, how many is this? How many is that?
2.
2. And those little dashes above it, what do you think those are representing? Corners, or maybe, what did you say, Flor? Sides it has. Yes, I like that. As well as the guests at the table or the chairs. So you are going to make your own seating arrangements. So, what are these? The blue ones.
Tables?
Those would be tables. And Clayton, you had the purple ones. What do you think those ones would be?
Chairs or people?
Yeah. We're getting the tables and the chairs out. Miss Kendall is going to ask you to come up with a seating arrangement for 10 people. So how many chairs will you need? The purple ones are chairs. How many purple pieces will you need? Would you need 5?
No.
Would you need how many? 8?
I don't know.
If we're coming up with a seating arrangement for 10 people, how many people should it be?
10 people?
10. Yep, 10 people, 10 chairs. Let's get your tables. We'll see, and it may be different. So, can your arrangement be different than Clayton's, Flor? If you were to use the squares, so put out some squares. And this is your 10? Okay. This equals what? 1 table. So I'll let you get a table out. Can you fit all 10 chairs around one table?
No. No.
Okay. How many can you fit around that table? Try it out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You think you can fit 11 chairs? Try it out. So when I say try it out, I mean to put a chair on each side and see how much room you have. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm gonna try to get a small one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, what about this side? Are you gonna add a table or are you gonna add a chair there? Because that's 5, you still have how many people left over to sit? If you already have 5 at a table, what's 5 take away 5? Yep, 5 more.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, Flor, so are all of your people seated at a table?
No.
How many people did you put at that table? 1, 2, 4. Yes. So it looks like you probably need another table. Nice. And you can make your table arrangement next to that. So how many chairs would you put next to that one? And what are you doing? What did you decide? Oh, you're going to put your tables together. Okay.
I like it.
I like the difference.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Wow.
And this one, we can do that way.
Yeah.
So you can have an appropriate.
Table.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so 1, 2, 3.
And you don't, I like how yours is that you're put a table together, and I like how you did yours separate. So you have 4, 5, 6. What are you gonna put here? 7, 8. Do you have all your people seated? You still have how many people left over? 2. So what do you need? Another table. And what did you decide? Oh, you decided you need 3 tables as well.
And then 10.
Woohoo! So how many people are at that table?
10.
Let's count. Can you count for me?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10.
All right. And Flor, can you count for me?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay. Much like the story, we had some more guests arrive. We have 10 guests total. And guess what?
Oh, yeah.
We are going to have 4 more guests.
No.
So we're going to have
14.
Well, exactly.
1, 2, 3, 4. I only have 4 left.
Oh, okay. So how are you going to arrange your table to accommodate 4 more people? And how are you going to arrange your table arrangement to accommodate 4 more people? Go ahead and start arranging. Use your squares.
I'm going to arrange this kind of like that.
Okay.
And then put like this one right here.
Oh.
1, 2,
Mm-hmm.
3, 4.
Okay.
Now I have 14 chairs.
You sure do. And all your family members have a place to sit, don't they? And Flor, what have you decided? Oh, you put 2 tables together. And you added how many? So how many guests do you have? 14. So when you look at Clayton's, is yours the same as Clayton's? Clayton, when you look at Flor's, is yours the same as Flor's? do you see that you are able to group numbers together and in different arrangements and get the same results? That's pretty interesting. So this is a graph, or graph that we made that is according to the story. So I gave you the same situation. I said we had 10 guests, and then we moved on to how many?
10 guests, and then we had 14 guests.
And then we had 14, so we added how many to 10?
4.
4. So this is what Miss Comfort and Mr. Comfort were dealing with. They had 6, right? And then they had 12. So what happened to that number? If they had 6 and then they have 12, how many more came?
2 more?
Well, if you have 6 and then you add, how many does it take to get to 12? You do 7.
6 plus 6 equals 7.
There you go. So they had 6 extra guests. And then it just kept growing. Then how many more?
16.
Then 4 to 16. And then how many more? 2 to 18, 2 to 20, 4 to 24, and then 8 to 32. Do you see their different arrangements? They were using perimeter. Perimeter is what is around the squares here. So they were using the basic knowledge of shapes of squares and rectangles to figure out their seating arrangement. So Clayton, you made a drawing, and this first drawing, what does it represent? How many guests were you working with? What number?
24.
24. So did you make an arrangement where you can see all 24 guests?
No.
You haven't? You need one more there, in there. Oh, nice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 19. 25, I think.
That was 25? Let's check. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 1, 22, 23, 24. You did it!
Yay!
Flor, did you figure it out? Nice. So, you used how many tables? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
14. 14 tables, and how many tables did you end up using?
So it's kind of one whole big
One whole table, okay. And you used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
block.
So if you had a choice, which way did you like better figuring out? Using the colored squares and rectangles, or writing it out, drawing it out? What was your favorite, Flor?
Drawing it out.
You liked drawing it out better. And Clayton?
I like drawing the tables and all the chairs and stuff.
What was your reasons that you guys prefer drawing it out?
I just like figuring out like all the how to like draw how many tables we need to put out.
Oh, okay.
Like chairs we need to put out.
It was probably easier because you could erase if you needed to, right? Nice. Well, thank you guys. Can you say bye?
Bye.
Bye.